are listening to the scintillating music of Brett Miller, fabulous theater organist and a conductor and arranger, and he's coming to Atlanta to provide the music for Metropolis, the great silent film. It'll be Sunday, February 23rd at the Strand Theatre in Marietta. Hello, everybody. I'm Ken Double from the Atlanta chapter of the American Theatre Organist Society, and thrilled to introduce Brett Miller, who's with us for a little promotional interview. Brett, good morning, technically, and how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Ken. How are you?
I'm fine. I have one real interesting question, important to ask you. We are taping this on Thursday, January the 9th. It's actually about noontime. And I'm going to bet that our low temperature was colder than your low temperature. And I'm in Atlanta and you're in Rochester, New York. How chilly is it in Rochester?
It is, let me check right now. It is about 29. So it's
Yeah.
a little
Well,
chilly.
oh no, you're almost balmy. We woke up to about 17 degrees, and we're
Oh
going to
no.
get snow and freezing rain and ice tomorrow. It's going to be terrible. But the weather is going to be fabulous on February 23rd. I'll guarantee it, at 3 p.m. Sunday at the Strand Theatre on the Square in Marietta. And you're going to bring your skills as an accompanist to silent film to do the unbelievable picture Metropolis.
Yes, it's actually I think it's my favorite picture, quite frankly. So whenever I get the opportunity to kind of jump in and do it, it's always a joy, and especially to come back to Atlanta, which I always love coming down to Atlanta, especially in February when we're getting lots of snow in Rochester. It makes it a little it makes it very nice to come down. So
We're going to do the best we can to handle the weather for you. And let's point out too that you are kind of pinch hitting, as they say in baseball mode, and that Clark Wilson was scheduled for this, and then because of circumstances, Clark wasn't able to keep the date. So we tapped on Brett's door, knowing that he has done this film. How many times have you screened Metropolis for the public, roughly?
well, it's definitely double digits at this point. It's one of those films that I luckily get called to do because it's such a great film. So definitely more than 10. So it's always good to revisit and keep in my fingers. So I'm glad to get
Well,
called
and
to jump in.
and it's a long film, and it keeps getting longer because seemingly they keep finding more of it. But it is a physical exercise.
Oh yeah, I it's more mentally because it's such a I love the film a lot, and I think it's really a testament to what they were doing back in the late 20s with filmmaking. So to kind of play to that, it takes a lot out of you mentally. I mean, I just have to move my fingers and move my feet, so physically it's not too bad. And your back starts to hurt by the hour and 30-minute mark, but other than that, it's it feels like you do kind of like a marathon. It's a little bit of, it's intense, but it feels great when it's over. So
Sure. It is an amazing film. If people are not familiar with it, it is an important film in film history. With the whole Art Deco movement, science fiction movement, it's very futuristic. And so if you haven't seen Metropolis, particularly in this setting, a fabulous theater with a great organ and a great organist, you haven't seen silent film. Let's talk about the score. There is, particularly with this film, this whole discussion of original score. We're using the original score or themes from the original score. With your conducting background, you found the original score. Talk about that.
yeah, I mean, we're really lucky to be living in such a digital age now that, these scores are being converted to PDFs almost. So, luckily, through resources through the Library of Congress and all that, they digitized their collection. So, now we have not just scores to Metropolis, we have the scores to Wings, several other big films, Douglas Fairbanks and the Black Pirate. They're all available now to, any organist to kind of pick up and kind of not just research to see how they were doing it back in the 20s, but also to play with. So with Metropolis, Gottfried Hubbards was the composer, wrote this orchestral score to the film originally. He was actually on set when filming and would play piano along to certain scenes. So we have all 100 and I think 68 pages of his piano written score that I will be flipping vigorously as we go through the 2 hours and 20 minutes to kind of keep the film in sync.
Now, when I'm playing theater organ, I have a three staff music. I have the line for my right hand, the line for my left hand, and the line for my pedal. If you're breaking it down from an orchestral score, how many staffs of music are you looking through to do the transcription, or are you working off a piano score?
So luckily there is a piano score that exists. Although normal piano scores are only two staves, this is
Right.
mostly three, four, sometimes five. So, to get all
Yeah.
the parts in, you kind of have to, whittle it down. And I'm lucky I also have the full conductor score. So anything that is missing from the piano scores, I've just written in above the staff just to make sure I can get, all my digits working and making sure that I have 10 figures and I'm using all 10 all the time. But no,
I'm
it's
sure.
it's a very it's actually one of my favorite film scores as well. I think it really deserves its own credit on its own, but I'll get off my soapbox on that. It's a really fun score to play and perform to. So
Yeah, and I mean, just based on the film itself and the film content, there is some intense music going on to project that support for what's happening on the screen. It's just amazing. You are in the first year of your master's degree program at the Eastman School of Music in orchestral conducting. What
yeah.
steered you from keyboard to conducting? Although we're aware this has been an interest for a while.
Actually, I have to credit the organ for it. We always credit ourselves as, the one man orchestra kind of. So, this whole idea of, thinking orchestrally has always been a big part of what I've been doing. Um, and I think that's what really drove me to conducting is you're thinking orchestrally, but now you actually have 80 people in front of you.
Yeah.
So, you're still in the driver's seat, much like organ, you're managing the orchestra with this, and now you're just doing this instead.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's it's really something I enjoy, doing. And a big part of me is, uh, unlike organ, I always like working with other people too. So being able to work with a large group of, really talented musicians was always something I wanted to do. So I'm really lucky to still be at Eastman doing that and also still being playing organ. I find though they both really complement each other. So, when I get to do a film like Metropolis, where I'm really thinking as to be an orchestra at this point, that other degree comes in handy sometimes, thinking of
Oh,
like,
sure.
how would an oboist, approach this, or how would a string player approach it? So, yeah, always been an interest of mine. So I'm really, really lucky that I get to kind of hone in my skill a little bit now.
Indeed. You are listening to the multi talented Brett Miller, who is coming to the Strand Theatre in Marietta on the Square on Sunday, February 23rd at 3 in the afternoon for a fabulous screening of Metropolis with Brett at the Allen GW4 Theatre Organ. And we are really looking forward to having you come back to Atlanta and perform for us in this mode. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the 23rd. Thanks for spending some time with us, Brett.
Thank you, Ken. I'm looking forward to coming back down.
Terrific. For those of you with interest in tickets, you can go to the Strand box office and get your tickets, or you can check us out at atosatlanta.org, where on the 13th, we'll be presenting The Mark of Zorro at the Plaza Theater with yours truly at the 3 Manuel Allen Theatre Organ, and lots of silent film and concert events coming up through the Atlanta chapter of ATOS. Again, atosatlanta.org will get you informed on all of that, including how you can join and be a member and support our activities. We'll see you on February 23rd at the Strand and wherever else great theater organ is happening in the Atlanta area. Thanks for joining us and take care.